Ba me pa tong kong ni kong de pe wa hyo xiong chu sen chu rinpo che ma xie pa na xie je re xie ba nyam ba me pa tong kong ni kong de pe wa hyo. Oh yeah. Good morning. Please to generate or to how to say is to remember the Bodhicitta. Taung Chongchun Cho the 2 year December here, Taeyong, December here, Chu Jumba, the year teacher to Hupa, that the Yuvote Katson Sonson, Hinti Ron Kundruta Zuna, Tombo Hai Pagad, Tani Jerejudon Chadak, Tani Pombu Dub, Newman Buddha, Tani Pombu Dubberson. Je don't get it to the yote chuper he la ta man concho denka namba concho choto demba shirap cholir to la tomba nyas nam concho denka tomba nyas ta tomba tanye tam yar yar mato jis te la tsi ton ye ju hyopa he gna he matapa rong sang chunya shirap Tenya Cherizudo. A tombanya runyon dalalaji. Tombanya sejitella, tombanya la zulme, ye me, kado mes. Samson and dotusuni. Chu no tomchi namka ronjan rakiredores. Chu tomchi namka tav. Namka no yan tahi. Namka no ya gamchi. Namka no yan nyams len hina. Namka no yu song ji no yu le son ta song ji sen de yu jeri ju song de song ji song sen de yu nyo mon ba yo pi song me song oh ya ji me shi ba mon ba mari ba ji tanda choma yo par song me song de to song ta ji se ju jeri ju non la non go kon to ku yuan to ba non nyam tok topa shira tane chire do chi hi je sa lam ko yonten son ji ko yonten yonso zopa ji yonso pen yar je ji chu ji pa no ji yonso ra ta son ji se ji de tanye de tandi zo ta son ji se de son ji ko kon se de to ta chire do katsun uchage 송지 그 추운다라 제추 토모만인 바 희제 그 찬이 제추 토모만 시랍 그 찬이요 제추 토모만인 바 대웅 첼레 말에 대찌레도 송지 그 제추 뭐만 란다테 토마게와 바르드게와 타마게와서 게와잖아 제셀린 상고스 토마게와 이제 담부 추 냐옹 도니 제레주도 데 추테냐 디파톤 드파세요 타 뉴 몽바톤 데리 숑보 그 드파티 냠보 롱슈 군로버 베나 네 나사 침보 조나 티 냠보 추트 저와 베나 카르보 치트세죠 매죠 텐라보 조나 맨테 람손 토마 토 네티 냠보 로도 더기 제레주도 토마 New Mumbaton, Drupak Nyembul Rocha. Then he part the gave us at the young Parmachupa, Mango Nantojito. Then him Tama gave us it Karo, Jerejo the Chingo, Nambatamchi, Nikatamji, Patropas on Mayan Pa, Zawa Nene droning Jans, Mepado. They songi sky chechu secuna, they don't chechu jil. Dogochag songi. song chechu ji te hirap to ni je to hirap yon don yon re te nyam so na pen ju to so le re se na rong go ju chi nyem ba mari pa jpa choma pa sao te ni nyem ba choma mem ye hi se ji ye hi ko yon te zum bu yon te ko don ye hi se ju te choma su ngan de jer zo te chechu che par 더 따티는 탑 나신 하소 몸보요를 데리체르도 지 롱고 루후 yambala tani daga chere zu luyen nyong song ta chere zu lama nanjur chalop ji yung rete yenna yung da thumu mayan pa choso mandar cha hi ji re so tani zo da chere zu da ji chik char tu chup se de ta hirap tomba nyat ta do don zun te su pa kan song khor ro hi ku ju manu jo se te yena te tsaba ni toni lobort yen rimbola ji nyamlen do to zo ma ga pa nyuk ji tong ji lika chimbo ji tu su tong ji no la lika chimbo ji ndrup pa no yen dan da ji se tani zo du do me to hira tenye la tani ta chere zo te tendu tombo rong ji la ye hi pa ji la tani ye hi pa se ma chi la ju ma truma la tani tani rong lu cho yin ta ka chong chere zo mombo mam hi ka chong nga cho chere zo te ngo sen de chen ju ru kun ju ta na la ze ta chere zo di gyu den du na lu kun cho yin de la kan ji se ji do chan ji se ji do man ji se ji do non ji se chen ji ko yo yo le njek chen ye se ji ta to so gyu ngma lo yon den zo na 효과를 이제 녀용 이제 효로를 이제 단위 소르도 토론 이제 chen 단위조 코리용 디 이제 이자도 단위존도 단위 용제에서도 만지 도 논지 또 소는 믹서 그지 이래라 텔라지 용지 톰몽고 지 모티데 메나 대세 만데 nye 문ye 진다이 실마 단위조도 디 논라 지 잔든 단다데 간지 또 찬지 니가 조부는 단단히 간지 신제 그노는 di kapsula di tuzi zawlama gamja rong ma chi trumala de do la rong lu po ka zo do zu yo ji de ya chu rong go cho zo zpa ta dam chik to nyam cha tham che hyong cho ko ngu de thom ko ngu de tham che to pa sam se de na la ga zo ka zo ta na yo de ta cho ko ngu de thom ko ngu de ni yo le cho ko ngu de na chi na song ji ju ko po se thomong ko ngud se jena thomong ko ngud la sam je ju mombo yole re ta tinone thomong ko ngud se je te na jena ji jere ju mingme de da sao ko te thong du jin da sa thor rimbo ni na shu ko du jin da yen sen chi pu ko ngwen shin da ji tandra kan ra ma na so ta ji miser ka ji tandra yong jor da te da choma cham sang la na la phor chu sao la nzur chu 사도 메고 마식문다 단다 요래지 대지리지도 다른 로지던다 알레 토몽고 ngo든다치나 베나 제쯤라 리바 공르 뜻을 윤두도 떠나라 되니 bombo 히로마테 바도 쪼파히니 다스 제리지도 공르 쳔도 nom바레도 효바랭 다 쪼가스다 하모고 되니 쪼 온도 bombo 올라마직 도콘 찍조 운터나 본부 그거 니데 본부 양셀을 대 제제도 다 손이 공으로 뭐지 기나 습제였나 전터 드니 대그 토지연 스탠다드 드나요 세드 드니 효과함 지점말라 잔데 리숑바 콩 샤히 조르르 발람 길 하다 커더 말라리바그 디 토콩 테칼 제 운도 본부 라마타가 돈보인도 뭐이야 대 효로 못대 플라마직 ngachi cherde 좀 땅땅 퍼지 로콩고 가지 다코리 말라리 바 초절 버죠 다홍은 렌데 체체 대콩르테 리숑바나 대 야시다 말라 지선 말라다 템퍼로 지나 공골 번도스 거즈 지혀 뭐야 닌 초국무도 토레 그 토몽국무도 내가 나마레송 공때 뭐 이제제 이도 대 말라티 대 효로마테 파드라 공가 제 뭐제 되나라 대 공로야 유대청 냥야 진제 온데나 유니면 참참 아 한다린 참참 코르 한다리 딱 론제 첩세 뭐나 하서 대 공로 유나 공가 제리나 전처가 페서 다 호송 랜드 체거 대 코르제지 단데제리 코트나 요소 단다 효로마테 팔 감젠도 무토솔라 전처로 데라 토모고 무도 nomba sonji pana china chi saul zandan ni ke timata jindan do chi ngwe men dan tanda ramana so yensen hindu ji to sola gong yong zhe ge ma de tomo gu do de chulu mombo la yole to zo du te so lang ga zele ma chok gu do se da gu do to ba sam okay I just what I said this try to translate to you, okay? I say generated. And yesterday also I told to you about the spirituality for the Buddha's teachings. We say it's a genuine Buddha's. That's used. First is compassion, wisdom. It is not only that. And the Buddha's teaching is very much special. In the Buddha's teaching, it says the beginning is a virtue, the middle is a virtue, the end virtues. You say why you say the virtues? And Buddha's teaching, you enter into the Buddha's teaching and to start, listen or practice, it's automatically antidote for the obscuration and mental afflictions. And therefore, it's like kind of the beginning, it is the virtue. In the middle is the virtues. And this one is not for the antidote. And also it's like kind of the making the diminish. And it's not increase this obscuration and also the disturbing emotions. And then as finally is also the virtue means. And finally, if you continue to practice, you can to eradicate both obscuration and disturbing emotions. Because the obscuration, disturbing emotion is the source of the suffering, and also it's like all the like kind of the different type of the sufferings is come from obscuration and defilement. Therefore, like this. And then is, of course, there are different type of Buddha's teaching. Is like kindness, peerless teacher of the Buddhas. Is he shows to us many different methods in to reach to the enlightenment. And also in Tibet, you say Buddha is a Songji. And English translated enlightenment or the awakened mind. I make a joke all the times. I would to say the superior mind of the full stop. Full stop is make a joke, okay? Don't use in the future translators. Full means you completed all everything. That is like kind of the, in Tibet you say it's the Ji. And all the qualities of the Kayas, wisdoms, all the like kind of the inner experience, realizations completed full. And that time is what is the stopped, full stops? It's a song in Tibet. And because it's like all the obscurations, disturbing emotions, or everything is eradicated, there's no anymore. Therefore, it's like kind of the stop, full stop, the mind. And this one is like we are trying to reaching. That is like kind of the Buddhism. And then there are many different type of varieties of the entrance door of the methods. And this one is one part of that. Here is like we're using the supreme emptiness wisdom. And to cutting this ego or intent. And of course, like visualize the mother tumor. And then it's like we are using this body to invite different guests. And then is offered generosities and our body. And also there is 4 type of generosity or the making the guest. Like a kind of the white, how to say, feast. And feast means it's like you give to making party, kind of white feast. Then it's like a variegated feast, and red feast, and black feast. But here is like, in the later also, it's the Patrul Rinpoche says, of course, in the Kandu Kejong there is, and also most times, and the one you do during the day, sometimes in the morning like a white feast. In the middle is like kind of the variegated feast. In the evening is like a more red feast. In the night, like a upper night, is to do the black feast. But here in the Konsolam Shalom, is like he's talking about the true feast. One is the white feast, and the second is the variegated feast, the feast of the variegated. And these two are. And then is yesterday we says like first what feast we visualize in the both and all the lineages lama like this we offered, and the result you complete the accumulations, and also you are the freed of your obscuration, your violent and breaches of the samaya and purified. And normally we have the like a kind of obscuration from the negative actions. Negative actions, two kind of the negative actions. One is like a natural negative action, like killing, stealing, and 10 negative actions. And also it is like kind of the violation and breaches of the samaya. Sometimes it's like kind of we took the samayas from the different type of the vows and we broken, and that is like kind of making violent or the break like breached, and this also we are purified. And then it's like you attain both the common and supreme accomplishments, and like kind of you attain both. There's common and common accomplishment. It's not maybe important. And also the supreme accomplishment is, for the Buddhist point of view, is very important. Supreme accomplishment is the enlightenment, the mind of the full stop. I make joke, okay? And then it's like the common, the siddhi is just not really, because it's the common, so this, there is a 3, 8, 16, something different type of the common siddhi. Like for instance, you can to see through the words, you can to hear is sometimes very mild and sound, and also you can to sit near the people and other people's what they are thinking, and everything sometimes you know like this. And also sometimes you can to fly, you can enter on the earth, and also it's like sometimes you say it's like 5 elements is difficult to destroy. This sort of not only Buddhist, it's any kind of spirituality, sometimes like a Hindu and others. Some, for example, in a Bombo tradition, you have a lot like this. I'm just telling his story. And once Jetsun Malajipa, he was in the Kailash. And before Kailash is many stories. For example, if you go to in the Hindu, they say it's the Hindu holies of the Kailash, because it's very much historically from the Kailash, and this the river Ganga and the Surat Vat, this come from. Principally, there's India's. It's not before you call the India. And how do you say them? The India's like religious and started like Ganga. Shiva was. The mainly is like the Kailash is the palace of the Shiva, you know. And like this. In Tibet, if you go to before like Bumbo tradition, it's like many Bumbos, they say it's like Bumbo's holy, Bumbo's place. And Jetsun Malajipa was there, but also in the Buddhist point of view, and that is Buddhist, holy Buddhist like place. And then as Jetsun Malajipa was there, and this kind of augmentations came. And then there's one Pombo, I don't know, maybe Tikas, and they says like, okay, let's check, let's competition, who is good religious. We can to say this Kailash is belong to Buddhist or Pombo, we can to check. Tomorrow morning, early morning, who is right top of the Kailash, that is the winner and belong to this religious. And then just someone said, okay, yes, I think this, I heard is one Pombo like maybe black pombo. And then in the morning, just Malajipa is sleeping with, I think, Rishompa, his best student. And then suddenly it's like sounds coming, and the front of the window of Malajipa's cave. And there are one Pombo, these masters, riding drum, and bang, 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 coming, says, Malajipa, now are you ready? Let's do competitions, a challenge. And they didn't say, and then he's fly. And then it's like almost sort of reaching in the top of the Kailash. And the Rishompa said, now I think he's going to reach in the top of there is what. And then Jetson to get up and to say, I think I received the supreme accomplishment. He's only the common accomplishment. We are quite different. It's okay. Then Malajipa to get up and a little meditate. Suddenly he lost something in a realization. He's falling down. Sometimes drums first, sometimes his kind of parachute broken and fell down. And like this, sometimes what I might say is like a Pombo, Hindu, sometimes you go to many India sadhus, also they can to make many different magics. This sort of, you say, the common sadhu, okay? Why here is also sometimes common sadhu is fun, it's nice. Of course, it's like we, in a European, we call the supernatural power. And this kind of the supreme accomplishment is enlightenment. In the Buddhist point of view, it's really, if someone is like to make magic, it's not surprise. It's not. We are surprised. Someone has compassion and wisdom. That is surprise. That is mechanism. Like this. And then parna yadon jiddi jiduk laso namchi jak rong rong ko hyonsen dorje kolo ranchen pema jaran laso namba chenji bug de chicho tonte sur rong yon so do drapa ta ansi nyam cho hyong na cho tomo ko ngud topa sams ta jere do yadam jiddi judu se chi yadam se de namjan da chin na yadam se de tanala 5 years sem la yesage de sem la ko gudundu 5 non la zal chishu ji la sesul da jere senjina yadam se tang cha na yadam ko la se de da rong la jere ju de chendol hin na che shaman yin na che ma je ji je sun ru man de guru rumbo ji tan da zuna shu du le ne chome tana kel ne da olera yok tin like jere ju yadam se Tene jiddi yudu ko laso nam che jina ta jendala sonji ko song lang do ton jit ni yok non jendala je yese ji do je trup se chen chole tene chire de chi sanman de to so da chi na jiddi yese chen ji tene se ko to ya apa yoga tene yoga ta la ni he ni to jiddi yunda ji zo hen ro tene yo jiddi trup se jo to so kha so ni ma hyo na chi na Nishu to so da china jiddi shujul triya apa yoga samse nojela maha ana at sank jiddi truk yeba tandil ta jiddi truk la so so de tanala sheton chere judo sam tandi zojur chin do shu nan de tasai na go ti non la yadam ko la tensa yule je yadam ko la nan jur to so yule de page yoga na asanga ko di ji jong Jasa Hyambangum doesn't under. Then it is the Hyonti Shibalaka, Hianti, Jetson Jampalion, Hia, Dubni, Hiar Zixons and under. Tanda Doshok Nego, Yenago, Lak, Nanjul Zoni. Then it is the Sonji could come from Tomdo, Chokumud, Tomdo, Tandigo, Yulid. Yen and Donna Yadam Jedi Yaduk Lasso dinner, more Cheshu to Sonachina, Jedik, Juk Densen to Suno, Lasso, Lak, and Nanjur to Gam the Jit and then the Yensan girls, some son that you hear him to Zorum say, do to Sunolan, Gayo Lemati, Jut to Sunola, Mumbo Tandizo, Lak, Nanjur, Lak and Nanjuzina, Latila, Mipazon, Lala Sovan de Tadase. Tandizo, Tenin do to su capsula, Tandizole Regina. Tendizo do zo solere, tandoje nikazena, do capsula, non cheshu, nige to shrap niga call he, tene cherezudo gamje gamjanago nijela gamje shirap cherezudo tombanyel gamje ti gamte jeni tatu ku tönte toze chik tapshi zoso yana yon cherezudo nije shirap te kompen rogo ba hepala te cherezudo lama la ten ze chenchuru te yadam ko lama ton yadam la ten tenjuzo cherezudo tan choku ngudise sonji kompon tozi te zozo so sang the tandai tene jitten to sonda china chi mister sharsi jinjuk nyor der sonji kompon top gupu chetla taphin dam nasoran hirum to zorum se chenjur to sola tani chok njuk nyor do tozi chi chechu cheparjenji tene cherezudo la nyas lona go lam nyalen chi chena go ji na ndoshu to sonda china par pong ji to so pa yimba chad pa pong chu drup ji to so yimba chad drup pong mombo chi zo tane chere de don ta ngamala pong yeba me tante su to undu pong yeba me pa jena chere de gedi ni gala chepa me chi sang no ni lu to khorwa nyong di ni ga chepa me chi hira uni nang kon chodan hira tomba ni to so na tik te par de la tip pong ndorane de chembo zone tane zo tene cherejudo judde tsu kamra chinka chizogana ga cherejudo pa pongsha do solonsha teso ga cherejudo zormagpa ponlo nika ne dodon da jole himbo dodon da katsong ma cha hindo jik chunin se jure tela parshar se taigana kante yongana ki ponje yongso pon go ju nyu momba docho hedon ki ze yongna ko pa ma ponye the peshu tu jere judo ji bram ko yin la le pe na zofa yo na le zofa yo na zofa de ndab yo na le de la tani bram kin de yo mo hili ji ne tin no yin na do cho ye don tam nga ja tandra no nyu mo ba de ye na pa ma pon ni de rong peshu he de la tani son ji ji kom po top ji zon do da to gon do yan lam che dam ba na de tan di zo do ji dum나고 탑신 촉도 저봤던 리조 둘루는데 더진 타투 메여때 송지고 공포요나 둘루 접처는다 딱지 타시 치프르잔단 포들라 더그 제데 때소 나시나 던다 다 텔라 투 클라소 또다 탐치 또니 몸보다 여담 클라소 온다면 하소 몸보르스 대다 남지 저 롱롱 현생 도르디온 콜로 런체 페마 자담세 다 희존 때르도 여담 제데 그 유튜브 그 여담 jode yutu ko laso te da tamchi jere judonde hyongche semba segna da tene jere judonga cheginde judonde jarba ri nga se chojo te da somala mantu pa chole mare pe namba nonze dorji semba renchen jonde tene ton yu tpa tene nuan tai se tog namba nga single ti namba nga ti jarwari nga se jete nyongwa yak sabyo re yadam ko laso choma te la mantu pa te le mayon pa matsa tsaba nyen yo las pena yadam jede ka langare number nunze don derwa yo pa kashi te char dorji semba te kashi loran chen jong kashi non non tai kashi tyong ton yo pa Tandi zo da chen jarwa ring ado mandri pa myog mare. Tandi zo tsaditran di hyonsen te yon di non yon re. Pe nandana la hyonsen kandi doje ki kolo ki ranchen ki san pe ma ki jaram ko nga le nanda ngati pe nandi non kolo nda chi yana u namba nonze ki hyonsen re. Dorje nda chi yana thar dorje sem hyonsen. Ranchen jongde ranchen jongden ki hyonsen nor bu chole. Pe manda chi da non tai pe ma pema meto chule tene jaram te hyong donyu tpa tene je dando chiri de jarwa ring hyong sante te ta de yodon jiri glaso te do tamje ta yon cham la chiri de pe na ka cho ma chi la drunk hyong sante china rad re dinglen tene zo de ten yona yodam jidde yudu glaso te do tamje pena cheredo yolin chusan se gona tombo sonji sechore chuku kondo zombon chu Tani chere to daily jarwa rig nga seji chen. Tani samba jet zin samba jet zin ta tani zu mombo yole. Ta tedo tamchu chur su jarong de tanala. Tani chere to chencho her ka buta her ka zin dorje samba un chuyung zu tosol chere to su bajak de jejong di parwa dorje yon da tani zon chuyung zu. Tandona jarwa ringal chong ring nga se chen chere. Tani zo do su yagana Hyo laso yinna, nda trohu laso yinna, tedo tsoma te yarwa ring ala mantu pachi yogu mari. Ti nongyan chi ka shansen tsoma yon dorjin ko lo ran chen pe ma jaram laso pa tsoma. Teso namba chen yon tedo tsoma shansen tsoma boga katso nongyan re. Jere zido kong nambi jit datsi chongzi ka tanda re. Tega yon jere zido kong nambi nga chaga lu ka shu xiong ka datsi te yak yi chongbo de. Rong cho zo drapat tansi yang chao tamchi hyang cho tomo ko ngude chopa sanse. Tati chere zudo the next one is the yadams and deities of the 4 and 6 classes of the Tanta surrounding the teachers also consume the nectar, absorbing it through hollow tongues, who is shapes correspondent to the symbol associated with the each deity, Vajra, will, jewel, lotus, and cross Vajas. Here is like I'm saying it's like Yadam. I don't know. It's in English. You never translate it. Lots of us. Why you don't translate it? What? Hardcore? Not Sanskrit, English term. Deity is translated. Yatam says the word. Here is just they use Tibetan yatam. Yatam. How to translate it in the evening? Komanyon. Tese hakogumandu. Nga mombo tisonte tese togumandu. Yodam seji, yotam seji ndele. Nga chaginda china ngi ngala chi yo akure ngi yodam te tisinda jude yo se. Kake yodam seji nga chagidina chu yodam chere se angi jitsan druman dansu. Chu yodam chere ngururumbo che. Yodam chere se machitu. Nga chagi boga chere zata chigi nyanglan patasu yodam chere nga se tandi se. Te yodam se tana namjan rachina yodam se gasana samsam rachinka. Tela chet namba loma shamba cheola yodam zina yose tela. Kambu? Matajuna, is the Devata. This is just Sanskrit. Okay, Sanskrit, yes, there is no problem. The usage the Namjun Rachina Sanla Kogo. Yunayon Chiri to the Mochaki Yut sage to the usage the Nick Chip and the capsula. Yut said Tati Miko Tamla Yagas Sans on the Mandu. Twenty the near Karok Cherry to the usage the Matson some the take you go take signal to the relative. Usage the sound like Gogus is Angole. Tamina, Ungulilla. Those other cherries to the Tam sage to Tamsik really, a kill and batil. Those who do Tilla Conan be the Tom the Yatam sage the sons and anal gadget the Simundu, could you do it? this is like kind of the literally translation. For the Tibetans, is behind there is extremely meaning. Absolutely, in the in Tibet's languages, Buddhist terminologies is amazing. You just look, we're using Buddha, like Hyonchup, Yadam, and this one is like, normally it's a year, tam, year is the mind. A tam is the samaya or the commitment, but normally if you say the mind is you need to ta, yad. But here is the yatam, it's like yatam is kind of the okay, this doesn't matter. I just kind of doesn't matter. It's not translated. Yadamje, and deities of the 4 and the 6 class of the tantra, and this one is anyway. I said something in Tibet, but you maybe it's not necessarily you know so very well. And when you're talking about the 4 tantras, it's like kind of the new translations, and they say it's like the Triya Upa Yoga, yoga divided the Mahayoga, and then it's like kind of the 4 tantras, and then the 6th tantra is like more early translations tradition, and this is like kind of the Triya Upa Yoga, and then it's inner like 3 yogas, Maha and At. This is the 6. This is like kind of the tantras, lineage of the 6 or the 4 tantras. Then there's a different type of the Yadam deities. Maybe we can use it in the future, Yadam deities. And also I say this like, in the, here is the more talking about the tantric deities. And then is maybe there's questions. Says, in the Suttic deities, do you have or not? In the Sutta perspective, you practice the yoga of the deities. That is also there is, you know me, but historically, Asanga, he make the yoga of the deity of the, Buddha Mutiyana. Then he realized it, and he went to in the Tushita, he received all the teachings. And also the Shantadeva, he like kind of meditate the yoga deity of the Machushira, and he realized it, he's enlightened like through this. This sort of also there is, but not very details. And also both Sutta and Tantras, the basic is like kind of the thinking about to analyze aggregates, faculties, and these things are the same, and also to analysis is the same, and also basically to channel bodhicitta and to establish the wisdom is exactly the same, and also the end goal of the enlightenment sense. But between there is, when you are practicing the path, different. More is like we already studied in the tantric, more sharp and like kind of the faculties, and therefore it's like kind of tantric is a little bit to maybe rely on the teacher and rely on the deities. It's like kind of the doing things successfully, fast, quickly to result. Therefore, and when you are practice, when we be in the path, in the Suttaks or Suttik in the perspective, and you need to abandon purely, utterly, you need to abandon, for instance, 10 negative actions, and also it's like disturbing emotions, and also to adopt like kind of the 10 positive actions and all virtual things, really to adopt and abandon this kind of alternate, like kind of the actions, or like kind of the doing long times. There is a positive as perceived positive, negative as received negative, this way. And in the then of course finally enlightenment. And the authentic perspective, when we are in the big path, and of course direct to thinking about the reality, but all the circumstances, positive and negative, and even all these disturbing emotions, these things are the using for the path, and we call these desirables bring into the path, and then to be quickly enlightened. But therefore, it's very much special. They rely on the different deities and to achieve the enlightenment more faster, quickly, sweetly, like you receive the humble goods. Okay, like this. Therefore, I think it's authentic classes of that. And the surround to the teachers also consume to the nita. This is like not Tibetan here. If you are, maybe it's come from above. Absorbing through the hollow tongues, and those the shape corresponding to the symbol associated with each deity. And this like kind of the 4 or 6 classes of tantric deities, they have different symbols, associated symbol, or sometimes this shansen. How you to translate? I all the times attribute. Hands implements. Huh? Hands implement. Okay. Implement. Are you sure? Okay, now, yeah, here is the symbol, attribute, like this means it's like each deities they are holding theirs. For example, magic tumas is holding knife and kapala. Here is like we say it's like the Yadam deity of according the 4 or 6 class of the tantras. They have like then each deities Vajja, will, jewel, lotus, or the cross, Vajjas. And these are the principle of the attributes or the symbols, like the 5 Buddha's families, like kind of the Birochana, Vajjasava, and Rena Sambhava, and Bhima Sambhava, and Karma Sambhavas. And this is like these 5 Buddha families all the times connected to all the like the deities of the 4 or the 6 class tantras. And therefore here is the principle, like kind of the attribute or the symbol. For instance, like kind of the Vajja is for the attribute, the Vajja families. And will is the attribute for the Birochanas families. And then the jewel is the Redna families. And the lotus is the Pema family. And the cross Vajja is the Karma families. And therefore, under each like class, this is they are like kind of, they're using their own attribute. It is like kind of, how do you say, yesterday there says, like kind of the pipe tube. And in order to, how do you say yesterday, the bibomb, or how did? No, yesterday we studied. Imbibe. Huh? Imbibe, yes. Imbibe the nitas. Absorbing, yes. Absorbing, yes. Absorbing. And yesterday the imbibe, yes, imbibe is nice. And when they like the result, you accomplish the accumulation, clearly away your obscuration that you yesterday we studied, and purify the violation and breaches of the samayas. And then is sums, and you should to think, imagine attain the common and supreme uncompletion. Then is like a power ton kandru chushon sama pangan danchanga chipa la sopa namchi jok nizri jibag change desi cheton de so yon rong ko tso zo drapa tamchi shonchi drapim garchen parchi tamchi sarte garchen membre so tamchi perwa santel yandron la karji yamse Tatala je yogono tombo kanji seji tende rese ta pawon kandro chushon soma se ndi kapsula pawon kandro chushon soma seji ta sanchen ko ton drpala pawo tambu chu drpala pawo sanchen ko ngon tala kandi drp na nyandon tsenla hyam ko hyomazo pawo tendra ko kallan robina kandro chushon soma se kandro ndela samsala chirjun khor tan kandro mombu korse de bok samsala chirjun kandro sejita bme chongchong la kondu le re son tala ko gusmundu kandro sejita podon pomo ikala ko chogre chirjun kallan rob chanen kandro se tende jo chushon soma ta chushon se tan chuson kan so la yehi ku chuson kan da sejima yon lila trop chushon soma sejin lila trop chushon soma ta so na jina ngururumbo chen pola pe chirjun konke la masan desun tamchi de zong tang la tao ni de la ka gu tamchi yo tamchi le tene chirjun da ngola dorje yo ni ta maung pa song choron song ji ma song par de la sanchen tambu chu dumkan la tingwan hyap chu te song go sanchen la rozo go song go da tendra bu chu shon soma to ta mixer ki pango danch tsanga chi pase panchen pango danch tsang nga se ji te zhong ni pa ni ta ba ni thong ma so che ha ko so la je le je se chen chi tong zu zhen ro yo le te chang chang ji zi jun ro de ja 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 ji re ju ro chang chang la na pango danch tsanga te zulu ngo do ngo te kandi zu ta te che zu de ji yong karu ka shok rik che zu de ji chu dum kan do ji russell am bundren da chen yong ji the hyongchuk pu san rumbo chen he san chen ko dum kan la ta ru zo kan tan da ji kun dor na pangon dan chi tsanga chi bala so nam chi de da choma ko jok nyima ko wuzir no ya bog chen toni yon che de rong ki lu ko da sa trong de sor yon ta sor ro de tanar te rong ko so zo drpa to ta che galeris te da nam chi tambu chu hyongchuk de pang ga chen dama na so yo le ti ka chong chen se de chen la to chi ke chen thome ke chen tene chi gadu ke chen ya ti hyen hi ke chen din de ta choma chen dama na so la tani tambu chu de pa he pa la de la part de kyo ke kan de yon de da choma par tan chi san ken te choma te da tam chi la de chi chu pa per yon de tanala tin chu pa te la tani ron la rodan hi chu de pa he pa ke chen par chi choma par ser tene chire de ta chen member le so tan tambu chu chi dana go chi chire de ngo cha tan da se jure tam chu nam do chi dana si do gu chi go ni gre chu do bo chi go yo gre de this sa sha chi tro sa chi go yo gre dum ta ta chire de song ji ju kom po ma tho ko hon la lu pon da ne jong yi li de chire de chen chu na tre de la la za za ma zu na chu sap za na no hu dap chung sa se de ta chen da ma na so yo le ta chen te go ti ti go le de to zo de ta jere de tam chi hyong chu sem hyong chu de chu hyong song ma la te ro dan zo na tan da re ngi pe na lo ju che ju le ma dzogchen ko control ta na la control so pa ma ta na la gung kha nyam len ro zo cha zo te mil ze te le ma kong ko chan ro teni kong la ma chi nyang len pa chim bo jo teni so pa ma ka yu ta sha na sho so nga sha ma ji me chu ji dip so na ta gan dik song ji de so te yu teni tön kan kha kan dan teni thal ma Matatu da chi tsam chi la sama me si te che chona to ma sta ni ma chi la duk sang kong ru trok ma gor jo pa te ka da tan de hya ga chi trok gil pa trok hol pa choda tron teni kong ru tan al che na chi yo sang go sang che rong shu chi pen ro de na chi she do na te she do de na ba se nga cha te she do de teni kong ru ti ko ro su khur ma ta ni tana la kong ru cha ki zi to ta chi ni shin ba zi cho sak tana khur song Mundi sake osani al za osani nzale ti yung ta podo jamande ti chonon ponda chiong ta kio zo jing tongde tana la ombo pa je chuso za horso su ndu pi chotala lupo no zonso te da ti sama marozo tak so tani ti chere zo ti nak rota gam zaba san la jino reson tendo te chiri to cham san lan tachen le chu se ji tendo mama ngala lama ji dzogchen lama ji trok pe ma jan se kon tani son kon ko panya te to kon namba ni dzogchen la chu hina yong de tani kambo ngong se ju ti kondo yu na hong kondo de te ta ji sama kombo re kon ni gal ni droa ji heke ju yo son ton thoga nan chamba te lunro chinda chunchu ma chi ajala kondi chele kondi cholen sang to zo de poya knya dan bud kundi kon kondi zo kor de chen khati nyonyo re to zo tani o kon knya dan bud poya kondi zo kor to zo de te tata nyama chi la chamba zongdo sam de zo tani nyama chi go hari mich present che chende yam ma hi go tanala sakayo kayo chimbo chi kon ya ngas te no ka ab chena di tsane kani kon 차도 지 just see 돈 다 시지 그pen 근데 차대 뇽뇽 자농 대통 다 지마지 그 거리 크고 지나 너니 지마 가도 전에 로니 피 힘못 되고 가 도fon데 제우는데 대 공남반이 다선이 영아지 차도 땜티 송저 근데저도 참상나 길에도 담부치 용 도화지 득的 치용 담치 형치 득 로덴zo 뭐 추숑 소만한 로든 참참 chu dripa tsawa nini magi ma xezi tani zan tachen mambu le tsok tamchi perwa to de la yandrung kanji re sam tak tan re se tak okay now here is like says the ndakas and dakinis 75 glorious protectors daka and dakinis when you are says daka and dakinis its translation is very very good I would here is Tibetan Kandroma. For example, like Guru Rinpoche's, like we all, when we realize this 7-line prayer of the Guru Rinpoche, Kor the Kandro Mumbu Kosi, think Kandro, all the everybody's thinking is Guru Rinpoche surround, all the ladies is surround. This is not, it's a big misunderstanding. Because in Tibetan, Kandro means it's like kind of color. There are like a transmigrator of the in the space, like kind of the movement of the in the space. This is Ndaka and Dakinis, both. That's a very good translation. Ndaka and Dakinis, male and females. And 75 glorious protectors. This is like kind of the 8 Nangas, 8 like a kind of the tenths. There you can to count, but maybe if you find this the like 75. Exactly the number you can to check the Mr. Google. I couldn't find. This is just in Tibet like a spirit, like kind of local god. And because it's like Guru Rinpoche came into Tibet, he subjugated all the ghosts and demons, and he blessed and gave samayas. And then they like kind of commitment, they protected the Dharma practitioners like this. And all the other Dharma protector now also take their share of the Nita, exactly, through the Halu sunbeam of the day tongue. Their tongue sunbeam is like sunlight, it's like tiny, very sharp, very fast sunbeamers, sunbeams, and also it's like a beam. Beam, it's a what you translate Durji sigma. Sigma, how to translate? Beam, yes? Huh? Ah? Durji sigma se jo.
Unusual word in English.
Oh no, come on, not usual. Durji sigma. Vajar beam.
No. Splinter.
A splinter is watery. Zirma says. Fragment. In the yes, it's the Tegon Siendukle. Vajra fragment. Dinal beam sage te tiamu the assumption the mihigolo. Sunbeam of their tongues. Then you complete the accumulation and the freed from all the obscuration, all obstacles and circumstances unfavorable, favorable to the Dharma and the attainment of the enlightenment are dispelled. One is like you offered sehims, tormas, and now it's like you are offering your like kind of the nita. It's represent like this to the Dharma protectors, and they can it's like dispel all the circumstance unfavorable Dharma. It is necessary. There is like unfavorable of the external, unfavorable of the inner, and secret something like this. This sort of the circumstance unfavorable and for the Dharma want to practice. These things is they dispel and protect use. All the favorable circumstances and good things that you seek for the like multiplies. And this is like kind of the all the favorable circumstances when you are practice the Dharma. This is also very important. When you are sometimes practice like favorable circumstances, maybe you want to go to make retreat. First you need to favorite place, like a favorite land, place. And also it's like you can get a little bit of food, cloth, shelter. It's not become cold because we need to take care of our body. Even you want to practice Dharma, because at the moment our body is contaminated, built by the 5 aggregates. It's very sensitive. It is very fragile. And even if you are deeply, honestly to practice Dharma, sometimes more attack on favorable circumstances. And therefore, it's like sometimes the Dharma protectors can't help. I make the kind of the history, I just to tell you. In the Dzogchen, this value, most of you know, in these 3 legs. Sometimes in the middle leg, someone's make retreat, summer, autumn. If you don't come back, winter, then nobody's cannot reach there. One monk, he was there making retreat, and then slowly snow came, and then it started winter, and he cannot, and then he thought, okay, I will die to here. I don't want to go back. No food. And 1 month there's no food, but he just make some water, and that's survived. Then one day he thought, now I'm thinking going die, and he just tried to go outside, and then he saw there is one small like rock, like a stone, and one is magpie is like theirs, and to landing the top of the rock, say cha 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 cha, going down cha cha, and he thought maybe there's something. He's like automatically pushed on, and he went to there. There's like one wild goat dead. And then as he come back, he took a contain fire and he went there, and he took out from in the below, how to say, in the lake, small piece of the meat and put in the water and boiled. He drank this water, and his water, he unconscious. And when he wake up, like kind of very cold, but he's sweat and like very hot. And then he brought this one full of this cup of the wild goats, all 3 or 4 months. That's absolutely satisfied for his enough sufficient. Like this kind of one. And also one is like in the Dzogchen monasteries, Rinpoche, his name is Chokyi. He came here. When he studied the Dharma, he came to in Dzogchen, his brother. They are very poor. If you don't bake, sometimes they couldn't have food. But they have a little barley, and they made popcorn, barley. If you immediately make tsamba, you keep long time, its tsambas become rotten. But then they keep this popcorn of the barley, and then they have like the wheel mill, small one. Before they make the lunch and they maybe old brothers making tea, he make to just a little bit samba, then they eat him. Then it's almost gone. One day they go out, they took Peja, and he saw there is, in the front of the door, there is someone's full of the cup or some pellet to salt. And then Chokyi, they took the areas, they drink a lot of salty tea. And sometimes salt is like a little bit fill up your feeling. And they took inside, then they put a little salt in the tea or the hot water. It's kind of like kind of the sufficient, like. And then they choose to survive few months according to this salt. And they say if some owners come, maybe we can to beg in the future to repay back, but nobody honors. Maybe some Dharma protectors, this sort of, you really to practice Dharma, you never die almost. Sometimes this kind of favorable circumstances, the Dharma protectors. And just the history. Then that is the how do you say, the white feast for the guest, and the above, not below. Below's now start above. Okay, maybe we can to stop 5 minutes. Coffee, tea, yes. Yadam ke jar mathap masita. Allah.